Did you know this? Van Horn is one of the only NBA players to be paid not to play.
Is that? Wait, what does that even mean?
What happened is they needed money for the salary cap, so
Okay.
they paid him. I think it was like $2 or $3 million, so they could like use him in a trade or something, but he couldn't play.
Oh no.
So he literally got paid like $2 or $3 million to do nothing.
Dan, that is literally my dream scenario of life. I want people to pay me to not do things.
That is everyone's dream scenario. And Keith Van Horn lived that dream.
Hey, watch him! With Dan and Tony! Hey, watch him! With Dan and Tony! It's Hate Watching, yeah!
Welcome to Hate Watching with Dan and Tony. I'm Dan.
And I'm Tony.
And we're a couple of assholes who watch movies and then complain about them. Or in this case, I think one of them's going to complain about the movie and one is going to heat.
I don't know what you're going to complain about. I've been scouring the internet all week, reading negative reviews of this movie and just chuckling to myself. So I'm ready for this. I'm ready.
So the movie we watched was Space Jam 1996, an hour and 27 minutes. 8 minutes of credits, so that means it cruises in at an hour and 19 minutes of content.
I'd say about 30 minutes too short, if anything.
And there's about 20 minutes of Michael Jordan clips that are the thing, and then a bunch of white guys here in LA that produced and made this film for the sole purpose of probably trying to hang out with Michael Jordan.
I mean, listen, if I had my druthers, that would be the movie I make too. Just hanging out with the coolest guy on planet Earth. Yeah, okay, I'll do that.
So Tony, I'm gonna start by asking you a question, and
okay,
if you can answer this question, which maybe you can, because you're like you know this movie, right?
Do I win $1 million?
You don't win $1 million, but maybe I'll go a little easier on you than I planned on going on you.
I don't know if I kind of want you to bring the full force of Dan Goodsell, but I still want to answer the question. Give it to me.
Okay. There's a villain and these 5 other little villains. What are their names?
Okay. Well, listen. First of all, his name is like Shallywhacker or something.
You don't know his name. You
but
don't.
I know,
you don't
but
know
I know
the
it's
villain's
Danny
name.
DeVito. I know it's Danny DeVito. That's all you need to know.
There it is. Oh my God. I was going to just go, just name the main villain. And I knew you weren't going to know, but then you said, I've done this research and I've read all these things where people shot it down.
I didn't do research on the movie. I did research on why people don't like the movie. And I'll tell you right now, that never came up, Dan. Not a one time did that come up that I saw.
So you do not know the name of the main character?
The main character's name is Michael Jordan.
The main villain. The main villain. You don't know his
something
name.
Like Mr. Shallywhacker. I'm pretty sure I'm close on that. Did you write it down?
Oh yes, I did.
Is it close
and what
to
about,
Shallywhacker?
It is close-ish. And what about the 5 bad guys?
No, I don't know any of their names. I can tell you that the basketball players that they steal their powers from. Does that help?
Okay, give me the 5 basketball players that they steal their powers from.
Charles Barkley, Sean Bradley, Alonzo Mourning, Muggsy Bogues, Patrick Ewing. Boom!
Was that Alonzo? It was Alonzo?
Is it not? I'm pretty sure it's Alonzo Mourning. Maybe I'm wrong on that.
I'm not, because I did not recognize him, and I know Alonzo, but I know Alonzo from later on in his career. So wow, so you know a bunch of the most popular basketball players of all time. You're able to name them, but this movie that you profess to love, you do not know the names of the villains.
I can't name a single person on my shirt, Dan.
The bad guy's
is that
name,
what you want to hear?
Yes, it's exactly what I want to hear. The bad guy's name is Swackhammer.
Swackhammer. What did I say?
You said Swackbleemer. I don't know what you said.
I don't know. Yeah,
and then
close.
The bad guys, they're called Nerdlucks. The little creatures. They're Nerdlucks, and their names are Pound, Blanco, Bang, Bupkis, and Knot.
I don't think that's accurate. I think someone just made that up later, Dan.
All on the Wikipedia page. And now here's your bonus question. What's the name of it?
Oh, yes.
who's the director of this movie?
I don't know. But to be fair, do I ever know the answer to that? It's very rare that I know the director of the movie.
I'm just asking these questions to get a baseline for your knowledge about this movie, which you plan on defending.
Let me just say that if I were the director of this movie, I don't know that I would tell people. Because it's not a movie that's good because of the direction.
Okay. The director is Joe Pytka, who's a commercial director. And
that actually makes a ton of sense.
Yeah. This movie spawned out of a couple of Michael Jordan, Warner Brothers crossover commercials, which this movie is really interesting as a sort of a cultural touch point, because after
phenomenon is the word you're looking for.
I completely agree. This movie is incredibly important in like the marketing of stuff and just how those Looney Tunes became intertwined with sort of urban culture. And I would posit that this movie is the beginning of what we call urban culture, which is sneakers and this sort of blending of medias and all these things, because it really has grown out of that. And this was sort of the, like Tweety Pie, like in the pose, in the sort of, whatchamacallit, pose and stickers and stuff. And then it goes on till today, like in a huge way.
Yeah, big time. And I mean, it's essentially one big commercial in the movie itself. So there's that.
So I will posit that this movie is not a good movie, and you're going to have to explain to me why you might think it's a good movie, and there are only about 3 jokes in this movie.
Okay, first of all, I need to apologize to everyone. It is Larry Johnson, not Alonzo Mourning. It is Larry Johnson.
Yeah, I didn't think it was Zoe. I call him Zoe.
My fault.
All his friends call him Zoe. You did get Muggsy Bogues, so you're getting a pass on that.
I was a huge Muggsy fan. I loved Muggsy. Anytime a guy is shorter than me and makes it to the NBA, I'm all on board.
Yes, and he is one of those great players, and yeah. Okay, so but Ivan Reitman,
first of all,
was the producer of this film. Ivan Reitman produced this film and sort of made this all come together. And I think that's and this movie was, I guess, very hard to get made. People were incredibly resistant, and they had hoped to have a big all-star cast for all the other, the bad guys, and Danny DeVito was all that they got.
Danny DeVito's great.
Yeah, he's really good.
Mean for like the mud clips as well?
The Nerdlucks, yeah, I assume. Or just, they wanted to make this like a big thing, and they really tried, and there was a lot of resistance, and that's why it kind of feels like it's kind of a thin movie, because it's a very thin movie.
First of all, let me just say, this is arguably Bill Murray's greatest performance.
The Bill Murray stuff is very
incredible.
It's very small. But it's great. It's
so good.
And I think that was one of my problems with the movie is you went for all this stuff, then you got that Bill Murray part, and you're like, oh man, you kind of saw what this movie could have been.
I agree.
And then it sort of disappears for another hour.
I will say, and this is full disclosure. As a kid, this movie, perfection.
Okay.
Loved every bit of it. As an adult, I almost don't care at all about the Looney Tunes stuff. All of the best comedy in this movie is before he gets to Looney Tune World, and then Bill Murray. Like all the baseball jokes are 10 out of 10 for me. They still hit hard. What?
Tony, most of this movie is him playing with the Looney Tunes. I'm sorry.
I don't know if that's true. I think it takes him like 35, almost 40 minutes to get to Looney Tune World. That's almost half the movie.
There's a bunch of terrible cartoon stuff in the middle of that. Oh, here's your second bonus point. What's the name of the amusement park that Swackhammer owns? You don't know that either.
Dumb World, Stupid World, Moron Mountain.
Okay, you got to it. I know. So
look, it's been almost 12 hours since I saw the movie, Dan. Okay?
Yeah, it's been 12 hours. Just gone away. Woo. So we start with I Believe I Can Fly, which is
Ugh.
what's his name?
R. Kelly.
Trapped in the Closet. This is where
Yep.
this is where this song comes from, right?
Yeah, he wrote it for the film. Yeah.
Wow. I mean,
Yeah.
to someone like
So
me,
good.
you know this song. Everyone knows this song, and you're like, this is where this came from? You're like, okay, I'm impressed.
Yeah. I mean, they come out the gate swinging with that. So good. And then just an inspirational scene that follows. But I
Very
do have
nice.
problems with it.
Yep, with the inspirational scene, I thought it was nice.
I have one problem with it, Dan.
Okay.
Do you want to talk about it, or do you have
Sure.
anything you want to say about this?
No, I really just say shooting backyard hoops with Dad, MJ, talking college. You can do anything you want to. North Carolina NBA. That's it. I had nothing bad to say about it. I thought it was nice.
Kid literally spells out his entire life.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm gonna go to Carolina. I'm gonna get to the NBA, and then I'm gonna play baseball like you. There's no way that as a kid he was like, this is my game plan. I'm sorry. I don't believe it for a second. But I get it, and it's a great moment, and I love it.
And I do think that there's an interesting movie buried in this movie, and I think that movie kind of disappeared. And it's
when did it disappear?
Okay, we'll see, because it's setting up this whole.
So
thing
far, we're both on board, right?
Sure.
From my understanding. Okay, great. Thank you, R. Kelly.
Then
I'll never say that again.
I remember when I got introduced to Trapped in the Closet, and you're just like, someone explained it to me, and I'm like, what are you talking about? This is not a thing. This is not real. No,
it is.
It's not real.
Very real.
And then you listen to it, and you're like, this is real. There's a midget.
It's
midget,
so real.
Little person
so weird.
Shits themselves and just like
trapped in the closet.
But I mean, a true artist is going to end up coming out with who they truly are at some point. And R. Kelly, he showed us.
Yep, it's
bound
to happen.
He showed us who he was. We cannot be surprised.
And then we're like, get back in the closet.
So the credits are all these Jordan clips, and then we have "Welcome to the Jam," "Hoop." There it is. I love this.
Oh, good.
And that's like, I can see why there's a bunch of. I think with this movie, there's like all these interesting bits and pieces that people sort of cobble together in positive memories, and then they don't look at this as a movie and its failure as a movie, because there's all these sort of nice bits to it.
Yeah, so far, so good. Nice bits. Perfect the greatest soundtrack maybe of all time, arguably.
I mean, it's not for me, but I can see that of this time, it's a particular
Welcome
thing.
to the Jam. It's not for you, Dan. You're soulless.
Now, why is that? Is that like do you pump up Welcome to the Jam? Do you have
in
that
my regular life?
Yeah.
Hell yeah! Are you kidding me?
No, I'm just checking because I'd never heard it before.
You fired up, dude. I used to listen to that before football games on the bus to away games. You got it on your little MP3 player, and you're like, "And welcome to the Jam." I won't go more because I know you get upset.
No, it's fine. Get us demonetized, even though we aren't monetized, because that's what I'm trying to understand.
Demonetized.
Well, that's the whole thing. Is if you're a real thing,
I know it's just it's laughable that we would ever be monetized.
I know. I'm burping. I'm just trying to understand how this sort of questionable movie is like so beloved, and I begin to understand.
Well, I will say that the people that love it adore it, but there are just as many detractors. I mean, it's pretty much split down the middle, I think, between people that are like, what the fuck are you people talking about? And then us being like, well, it's the greatest film of all time. 100%, without a doubt.
So MJ has his retirement press conference, and then he's like going into baseball.
Which is
weird.
So weird. It doesn't make any sense. And I was going to do research on it. When did he retire and when did he decide to go into baseball? Because I feel like I don't believe that he did it at his press conference, but maybe he did. I don't know. He is crazy. He's Michael Jordan. He can do whatever he wants.
He can do whatever he wants. Yeah, I think it was like 94, 95, and then I think he came back in 96. Right. So I think like maybe 93, maybe they won from 91 to 93, and then he came back in 96 and they won till 98 or whatever. So just like 2 or
And then
3
left
years in the
again,
middle
and
there
then he
was the
came back
baseball.
and played for the Wizards. So good.
He was
What an
really good.
idiot.
He was
I mean,
amazing.
he's Michael Jordan. He's not.
He is.
He's never
He is.
not going to be good.
He is Michael Jordan. So now we start with the meanwhile at Space American Park. We go to Moron Mountain. We meet the bad guy. We need new attractions. We're going to kidnap the Looney Tunes.
Yeah, I mean, as plans go, I'd put it in like a D minus. Because if you have, let me just explain something just real quickly. If you have a theme park with like space rides and like exhilarating things, the people that go there aren't looking for like a silly stage show. That's not going to get them coming back to your Moron Mountain.
That's where
Just saying.
That's where Tony is completely wrong.
You think theater's the answer? Some stand-up comedy?
No, getting licensed characters that you can sell the merchandise and license around.
Oh, you think it's a merchandising move?
No,
Okay.
but you know, I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt and think that
because you think this movie's great.
Yeah, I think it's great.
End of podcast. And Fiend.
Great movie. So we're introduced to these characters. They're very uninteresting. They make voices. They say things. We don't ever laugh at anything they say. We find nothing they say.
You don't laugh at the little blue guy?
No.
Whoa. He's funny. He's funny.
So MJ's playing baseball, and the catcher on the other team is trying to help him hit. And I was like,
hold
okay,
on. But even before that, okay, you go. Sorry. Go.
Interesting theme about fame and how everybody's on your side, and we're going to explore this. We never explore it.
They explore it a little with his son. Later, when he's like, was everyone real mad at you? He's like, no, everyone was real nice about it. That's great. It's just a little story, but it's in there. It's a lesson along the way to a grander story.
It doesn't happen.
Just like Lord of the Rings, Dan. It's like all of those little stories on the side about them getting to the map. I didn't read Lord of the Rings, so I don't know why I brought this up as a.
I hate Lord of the Rings. Lord of the Rings
I don't
is the
think
worst.
I like it either.
It's boring.
The book or the movie?
All.
Yeah, I tried to read the book. Full disclosure, I've never made it through the first book. Never made it through in my entire life. But I will say the Two Towers video game is one of the best PlayStation, I think it's 2 games of all time. It was so good. So good.
There's the ringing endorsement that game has been waiting for their whole life.
But
so the catcher is working with. Oh yeah, you're gonna go before that.
My favorite joke of the whole movie is his 2 batting coaches that are standing by him. They're just like, looks good in that uniform. Can't teach that. It's just such a good line. Because first of all, he does. He looks good at anything. It's Michael Jordan, and he shows off his abs a little bit in this movie. And I was like, cool, something for the ladies, or whoever wants it. But that's my favorite joke of the movie. And then the whole catcher scene is great. It's a 10 out of 10. They knock it out of the park.
I guess my thing is, if this movie felt like an actual comedy, I would maybe, if that's what it was about, but it's not about that. It's just like there's little comic bits. That's like, okay, but I guess that's what you love, isn't it? All you're there for is the lines, the occasional comic bit, looking at Michael Jordan's tight ass. That's all you're there for.
What else do you need? You got Michael Jordan playing basketball. Great. 10 out of 10. Greatest of all time. You got Bill Murray adding a little color commentary along the way. Every time you start getting a little bored, boom, he shows up again. And you're like, you're bringing the energy right back. Da, 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 da. So good. I mean, that moment in the gym. And the quippy one-liners are great. And this catcher scene, when he strikes out, you got to love, I love that Michael Jordan is okay laughing at himself. And whether or not he was okay with it or they forced him to do it, I don't know. But this scene is great when he's like, I told you not to swing. I couldn't help it. It's so good. It's so good. 10 out of 10. Thank you, Michael, for taking the joke. What is that called in England? Taking the... I don't remember.
Taking the joke. That's what it's called. Taking the joke. being the butt of the joke.
And he did
I
it.
wrote,
And then, later was the opposite because he's the hero. But still.
everyone kisses his ass, I wrote. And now he gets, Wayne Knight rolls out as Stan. You know him as Newman from Seinfeld. He is this publicist. This whole aspect fell so flat. Oh, God, it was very flat.
I agree. He is my least favorite part of the film.
Yeah.
And he's in it too much. Whatever.
So
you win some, you lose some.
The spaceship flies right over the top of the game, which was really weird for no reason. And then it crashes into the ground and then digs into the ground and digs all the way down to the Looney Tunes universe through the Warner Brothers logo. And then they're looking for Bugs Bunny, and I think they do a big bit that...
It's a really long, it's like a 5-6 minute bit about like, would Bugs Bunny do this? Does he say, "What's up, Doc?" Like, what's up, Doc? And as a kid, I really enjoyed it. I don't know. It's hard to remember. Maybe
kids would enjoy this, but as an adult, all the references to the Bugs Bunny stuff just comes across super flat. I thought I told Putty Cat. You're like, okay, everyone sort of does their lines, and at one point they become like Reservoir Dogs. It's just like really weird.
Oh, okay.
With the guns,
Reservoir Dogs.
That's what I assumed it was.
I thought it was the other one.
It's pretty too early for Reservoir Dogs, isn't it?
With Pulp Fiction, I thought maybe it was like a Pulp Fiction thing, but we're in the right universe either way. I don't know. It's a lot of. It's like you got, you get the dream team together. Everyone's got to get their one shot in, and that's what this is. Everyone gets their bit, and then we move on. But the kids love it. I think kids are stupid.
Kids are stupid. Tony's stupid.
I'm still stupid.
You're right about that. Move for everybody. So now Michael Jordan is brought home by Wayne Knight's character in his shitty car. Tony, how did Michael Jordan get to the baseball game?
I guess walked would be my guess, because he definitely didn't go in Wayne Knight's car. So maybe the bus.
He never met Wayne Knight before, and then Wayne Knight
never met him. He'd never been in that car before.
Thanks for the ride home. And then we do this weird thing with Charles the Bulldog, who runs over there and jumps on him.
Yeah.
Tony, does that look like the house Michael Jordan lives in?
No, but I do appreciate the lines that he's like, "Now that's a nice house." Like it's a fine house. Like it's like middle class house, just in a decent neighborhood, and we'd be lucky to have it, Dan. That's the lesson of this movie. We would be lucky, and maybe we feel like we're a little bit like Michael Jordan, because wow, that looks like my house. He's just like us. See, you're bringing it back around. This is great stuff for kids.
thing you never want to forget is that, not Michael Jordan, but the guy from Saturday Night Fever, Travolta. He literally owns his own 747 airplane that he parks next to his house. If you're wondering how rich these guys are and how they are not like us, they can own 747 jets. Own them and fly them anywhere they want and park them next to their house.
I mean, I don't know if everybody can do that, but yeah, some of them definitely can.
740.
For sure.
So,
I mean, Michael Jordan has got to be wicked rich.
He can own LAX, and that would be his house. So don't give me this, it's a nice little house, and that's my dog. That's not your dog. That's not your dog.
It was definitely not his dog. And those are not his kids, but they do use his real kids' names, which I always thought was kind of weird. Like, I don't totally understand that, but it's cool. It's cool.
So here comes Jeff, his boy, who's played baseball, had a rough game. We know he's a perfectionist like his dad. Oh, here's I think we're going to explore their relationship.
Oh.
No, we're not going to explore that relationship. No.
No, it's not really about the kids per se, Dan. But here's one thing I will say is that I found it as an adult. This never crossed my mind until we watched this last night. Is that this is the line that the mother says about why the kid's upset. He went 2 for 5 and lost 32 points on his batting average. That kid's what? 12, 13, and they're doing batting averages? This is going to mess him up for life. Okay. We're at the age where you're just supposed to go out there and kind of have fun and compete. You're not supposed to, it's too much. It's too much. And I blame Michael Jordan because he's definitely a perfectionist.
Now his kid, he comes inside and his kid actually gets what I consider to be the first real joke of the movie. And he says to Dad,
wait.
You should open your stance up a little.
I mean, the kid giving his dad baseball is great. That's a great joke. You're telling me you didn't find any of the baseball stuff funny, Dan?
I mean, looking back on it now, it was kind of funny. But this, I felt like it was a really good controlled joke, just set up perfectly, and the kid he just pounds it in there. You're like,
he's a pretty cute kid. Did he go on? I feel like we've seen him in other stuff, but I thought the kids are really fun in this. The 8 seconds that they're on screen.
Yeah, and I thought there was going to be an exploration to that. There was not.
So it sounds to me like maybe you were looking for hidden meanings in this children's film, Dan, and that's on you. Okay, no. This is surface level.
This is so surface level. No, I was expecting there to just sort of be some sort of redemption story or some sort of comeback story or something, and that's not what this movie was. This movie was just a bunch of sort of things sort of lined up next to each other.
Yeah, some great bits, just bing, 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 and then we're at the credits. They go so fast because it's just knocking them up, setting them down.
Should we talk some more about the beginning at Moron Mountain and all that happened there? Do you want to go back to that, Tony? And all the bings and bangs that occurred there?
There were none.
No. There were none.
No, we don't have to talk about that.
So now we're at the Looney Tunes union meeting.
Yep.
And you're our prisoners and Bugs tricks them.
You. All of you. It's great. It's great stuff.
Is there a union meeting? What is a union? I don't understand. And then the rule book, and so you have to let us defend ourselves. Basketball game, because he sees 5 of them, and they're little, once again.
A lot of short jokes.
A lot of littleism going on in this. Little person shame. Okay. Now the aliens are going to a Knicks game to observe, and then
how did they get there?
How did they get there? How did they?
I was a little confused. Because they go to different games clearly across the United States, so they're traveling pretty far, pretty fast. I'm a little shaky on that.
You mean in their spaceship that isn't cloaked or anything, and no one cares about anything?
Like there's a lot of humans probably seeing aliens in this movie, and we kind of skate over it a little bit. Well, it's fine.
Kind of just a little bit. So cool. Now they start stealing people's talent. We start with Charles Barkley and Patrick Ewing, and then we go on to do Muggsy and Sean.
You're just going to skate over how funny this stuff is? Again, watching Charles
Barkley after he's possessed walk around like this was not funny. That wasn't funny. It was.
I just disagree.
I can just imagine the director now act like you're possessed.
He does like a weird zombie thing, and then Patrick Ewing, when the guy throws him the ball and it goes right off his chest. I mean, this stuff made me laugh really hard as a kid because I was like, they're so good, and now they're not good. It's great.
They just showed they were. You knew they were so good, and then ball to the face, they're not good.
You immediately get it. You know exactly what happened, and you're like, I'm on board. Let's see where this goes.
Okay, MJ's on the road now. It's game time. I guess nothing happened in that scene because I didn't write anything else. Then we get this nice Lakers scene where we're backstage with the Lakers, and they're all freaking out saying, it's germs! And Flatty Divac is freaking out, and then they have gas masks on. So there was these weird sort of tip-ins of other teams that are okay, we have, send a B crew down to the Lakers locker room and see who you can get.
Just get some stuff.
And then
here's have them sign waivers. Make sure you get them to sign that waiver.
Here's a little 90-second bit you can run with them. Here's these gas masks you can put on them. Go to it.
And they totally did it. Good on them. Good on them.
Oh, Jesus. Okay, so now the Looney Tunes are doing basketball practice. So they're starting to practice. And then we haven't.
Is this? Yeah, this is the outdoor practice, right?
Yeah. Did we already have? We didn't have. Have we had what's her name show up? Lola Bunny.
No, Lola doesn't show up till the
Oh,
gym
yeah. She shows up at the gym
after Spitshine.
Spitshine. That was one of my least favorite things in this movie.
What are you talking
So
about?
they're having
Spitshine.
Spitshine. It was great. So they're having practice outdoors, and they're kind of. I don't even know if they practice in the. It's like, oh no, it's time for the aliens to practice, and then the aliens come to practice, and then they touch the magic basketball and become the Monstars.
And then that was their entire practice.
And then they just leave.
Nobody practices basketball in the whole scene. They just show up and they're like, basketball. Pop the ball and they're like, see you later. So good.
It's literally like, I think they do say, see you later. And you're like,
it's something like,
what? It's not even a scene. You're just like, oh, we just wanted to show them
they don't even show off that they're good at basketball.
No.
Oh, this
and I
movie's
think that's
good, man.
That's sort of the point of how this is sort of a terrible movie. Is they were like, they had to get it out there and they had to get the animation done. So I think a lot of things they probably wanted to do was like have like some basketball here. They just were like, no time, like
sorry, we can't do it. Can't do it. Move on.
5 pages of script that they just tore up, threw in the trash.
That's the great thing about making movies. You just change it on the fly. I wouldn't worry about it.
Now we get to scene that Tony's going to just go crazy about because it was the funniest and best scene in the whole movie by a long mark.
I don't know if I can agree with that yet, but continue.
Bill Murray golfing with Larry Bird and MJ.
Oh, no, yes. I mean, this is
the whole movie.
I mean, it's perfect. It's perfection. Larry Bird, Bill Murray, Michael Jordan. I mean, wow. That is some good stuff.
And we see that sort of, Larry Bird, that sort of laconic Larry Bird, the understatement. He has a real comedic personality. Michael Jordan doesn't really. Oh yeah, and that
I agree.
But that was fostered through his and there's some really great stuff with him and Magic, where they would talk. If you ever see Larry talk about Magic and how much they hated each other. I mean, those two dudes literally hated each other, but now they're like best friends. And there's some talk, one of them's talked about it, and it's really funny because Larry Bird's like, he would, he's talking about it and he's like, I just wanted him to die. I mean, it's like, it's really serious stuff. And you're like, you got it. And then when they became friends, it just becomes beautiful and it's really emotional.
Yeah.
I mean, I am a fan of basketball, and he shows that same sort of laconic humor. It's really nice.
Yeah, this. I mean, if this somehow would have been the movie, I don't know what that movie is, but it's beautiful. It's so good. I love it.
So there, Bill Murray. Do I have a shot? No. Oh, because he wants to get into the NBA. He's like, these guys are having problems. So
all these players down the NBA is going to have to look for places they wouldn't normally look. It's so good.
Here's like the second best joke of the movie. Larry's not white. Larry's clear.
Larry's clear.
Such a good joke. So surprising.
Not a chance that was written, by the way. Like 0% chance that was ever on paper anywhere. That's just Bill Murray bringing the heat.
And then Bugs Bunny's messing with Michael Jordan's ball with a magnet, so he gets a hole in one. And then they grab MJ. And then Bill Murray does a bunch of camera jokes, which I guess are very funny. What were the camera jokes?
What kind of camera is that? Would you not point that at me, please?
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
he throws the camera because he thinks the camera's what made MJ disappear. It's very fun.
It's so good. It's so good. And then you start missing Bill a little bit for the next like 30 minutes. It's like, where's Bill Murray? Bring it back. And then he comes back and he saves the movie.
He does come back. So now MJ's down with the Looney Tunes. Daffy does some stuff. Bugs explains. He says, I'm a baseball player now. Oh, and then we actually go back to Bill Murray and Bird again. And they're like, is MJ okay? And they're like, I'm sure he's fine. And they just sort of
He's
walk
fine.
off. He's literally
Well,
disappeared from the planet. And they're like,
again, Bill Murray saves the movie. He saves this plot hole, and he's like, he probably just wanted to get away from that Wayne Knight character.
He does say that.
I was like, yep, 10 out of 10. Saved it.
And it is so interesting when you watch a real comedian do comedy, and it's just so effortless. But it's like so, it's like these lines are not funny lines necessarily, but just the way the casual indifference.
I mean, the guy's got a gift. He's there are no others.
Okay, now the gym's a mess. Now we have your giant spit shine scene.
Spit shine.
Only a child could love that.
But as a kid, it's a good time. I feel like a lot of people, and when I was doing my research on why people don't like this movie as adults, they watch it through an adult lens. It's not made for you guys. It was made as a children's movie to sell shit. And you have to watch it through that lens, because through that lens, it's a delight. It's an absolute delight.
It's not a nightmare. But if you look at it as a movie, it's terrible as a movie.
Sure. I mean, if you're looking at it as a piece of cinema, sure, it's not good. There's plot holes. There's no characters. There's no development. There's not really a plot even to be seen. But that's not what it is. That's not what they were going for. They were just going for something fun and light. Sorry.
I will say the kind of two things. I was hoping for it to be a little more Mighty Ducksy, where there was a sort of story, a sort of comeback where we'd get that emotional comeback. I thought we'd get that. We didn't get that. And the other thing that I truly found, and I this is jumping the gun a little bit, is that we didn't get Barkley and those guys doing much. I really thought we were going to get a bunch of them, and we really didn't get anything of them.
I really wish. I mean, listen, I love this movie. I would rather this movie stay on Earth and be mostly about what happens through the Earth, like when they lose their powers, their basketball skills. I want to follow that story a little bit. I think there's a lot of comedy to be had, and in these, even the small scenes that we get, I think are pretty great. I mean, they're pretty funny guys, just being idiots. And like the therapy scene, I give that's a great scene.
Well, we'll get to that. We'll get to that.
On the Mighty Ducks thing, though, they do take a shot at Mighty Ducks. Do you remember that? When they, at some point, I don't remember when it is, Bugs and Daffy are walking, and Daffy's like, what about the team name, the Ducks? And Bugs is like, what kind of Mickey Mouse nonsense is that? Basically, it was great. They take a shot at Disney's Ducks. It's A+.
Bang. So Taz cleans up the place. The aliens show up. They squish Michael Jordan in a ball, and then they dunk him.
Yeah. There it is. Yeah. Totally good. Totally fine. Fine stuff.
Yeah. Now we get all this stuff with the five, as I call them. Barkley's on the street. These little girls kick his ass. They like, you're not Barkley. You just look like
Barkley. Get out.
Get out. And then we have the montage with the psychiatrist and church and Muggs.
I mean, come on, the impotent joke. Do you have any other regions of your life where you find yourself unable to perform? Like, that's a good joke, man. I'm trying to disrespect my mama. Like, that's great. It's all good. It's 10 out of 10.
I just wanted Barkley being funny. I wanted, I wanted them being funny more, as opposed to them sort of standing around with a bunch of, people doing bits.
And I think,
stuff.
Who knows what they can and can't do? But I think Muggsy Bogues has some funny moments.
He had a couple ones, but I think Barkley could have, and I think what's his name? Who's the big guy? I forget his name.
Sean Bradley.
No, the other big guy.
Patrick Ewing.
Patrick Ewing, also very charismatic. These guys are all, as we have seen through the years, Barkley is incredibly charismatic. They're good on the mic. They're funny. They have a point of view, and I think there's room for that to have been more exploited in this movie.
Sure.
which was a little disappointing for me because, like I said, I had no idea what this movie was about when I went in there, and so I was expecting some stuff, and it's like to not get Charles Barkley doing some bits. They're more doing bits around him as opposed to him doing bits.
Yes. Well, I think and that's the way, it's kind of the way that like Saturday Night Live operates, where if you have a host who's not necessarily comedic in their own sense, you kind of build the jokes and the scenes around them to make it easier for them. And I just think that we didn't know Barkley all, like, because
That's probably
this was just basketball Barkley. It wasn't. We have a lot of years to look at after basketball Barkley where it's like, okay, Barkley's like this. He's a character. He's a guy that can definitely do some stuff. But I don't know. I just don't think we knew that at the time. So I think it was, I don't know.
And I wouldn't be surprised if this was also the start of a lot of that, where they kind of realized that who they were could be played out in the arena of the public, and they could become stars of a height that
for sure.
Even
so, what you're saying is that Space Jam started a movement, essentially, and it's the greatest film of all time.
I absolutely agree that it started a movement and is a very important seminal film for what it did, but as a movie, it's trash. So Newman is digging the hole. Actually, that was one thing. He starts by digging the hole, and then there's a later one where the hole is
just a crater.
That was funny. Yes.
Yeah.
So,
good visual gag. Great job, guys.
Yes. If only it was tied together with an actual movie. I mean, this is the Tony movie, right? It's just a bunch of little where Tony can sit there and watch and say, "Look at that giant hole! It's getting bigger each time we see it."
It's funny.
Like
it's a good bit.
The last hole.
They know how to build on their bit.
Last hole goes out into space. Like, there it is, the ultimate.
Great job. Great writing.
So MJ is now trying out the tunes to try to put his team together, and in comes Lola Bunny. The most refreshing thing about all the Looney Tunes was her. She was great.
She is considered problematic now, Dan. And we don't have to get in all of that.
Okay, we have to get into all that. Why is she problematic?
There's been some backlash in the recent years about her being over-sexualized in the movie. And so for Space Jam 2, they actually changed her character design to make her less sexual.
She's hot. She's like super.
And that's the problem.
Super.
People are like, why does she have to be hot? She shouldn't be hot. And listen,
there's one weird Bugs kiss in there that's a little strange. Like, I think Bugs plants a kiss on her, which nowadays you're like, okay, that's problematic a little. That's not a little bit.
Sure.
That's problematic.
Sure.
But she's super skilled. They don't just play her as
wonderfully
stupid.
Confident.
She's confident, and you're like, she's gonna get something done in the game. And it's, the Bugs bravado we're very used to, but hers is like a really cool confidence of like, Bugs, stay in your place for the most part, except the weird kiss at one point. And I have to imagine, another thing about this film, I have to imagine a character like that launched a lot of weird, all the weird furry sex stuff. I think she launched a lot of that stuff because you're like, wow, okay.
I would agree.
It's a very
that's the argument, is that she can do everything else that she did. She just doesn't have to be smoking hot.
So basically, they're just going to make her less chesty. Is that what they're going to do?
I don't know. I can't remember. I think she's in the trailer. I don't remember. Anyhow, all of that aside, she's literally the second best player on the team, and I think she's a great character. I enjoy her.
I enjoyed her completely. You were like, oh, this is refreshing. And it was so interesting because so many of the other Looney Tunes felt kind of stale. She did not feel stale. She felt fresh and contemporary, and just a really nice contemporary updating of the Looney Tunes characters, which I found really pleasant. I guess they were trying to use Lola Bunny, but everybody, which is like a real character, a character that had been before.
Interesting.
But the character looked too much like Bugs in drag, because I think she had big lipstick on. And so I didn't want people thinking it was Bugs just in drag.
Got it.
Okay, so now the Looney Tunes are going to his house. to get his sneakers. Then there's a whole sort of the dog and the daughter and everybody. The scale of everything keeps changing, and you're like, is
And Bug somehow goes under the house and then comes up through the floorboards. Come on, guys, this is the real world. This isn't Looney World. He can't do that.
and I think Bugs tells the kids about the game. Okay, now we have more of the
Yeah, because the kids save them from the dog, and he's like, the kids are here. I don't know.
So now we have the 5 guys at the fortune teller, which whatever. Newman continues to dig.
That's a good bit, right? She literally is psychic. The one time you find a real psychic, and she's like telling him exactly what happened, and they're like, "Let's get out of here. This is fake." That's a good bit.
Yeah.
Don't dismiss it, Dan.
So Newman somehow he continues to dig. He sees Bugs and Daffy, and somehow he shows up, and now he's part of the team.
Yeah, it's very unclear how he gets there. I like the bit justifying how Bill Murray gets there at the end.
It was a good bit. Oh, he just had like a
he's like,
someone
on the producers is a friend of mine. It's a good bit, and probably how he got involved in the actual movie. Because Ivan Reitman, you just said, produced it, so I guess that is the bit, and I just got it now. Thank you, Dan. That bit is even funnier now because it probably was Reitman that was just like, "Hey, Bill, I need you to save this fucking movie."
Now we have like what is literally the weirdest scene in the movie. I don't know why this scene is in the movie. We're at the Forum, the LA Forum, and they're putting these big tarps over the Forum to like fumigate it. And there's like, they say there's no more basketball because of what happened to the 5 players that lost their thing.
Right. Yeah, they shut down the NBA, and I was like, first of all, that's the most unrealistic thing in the world. We played through a pandemic, bitches.
And it's just like, I was like, oh, they're getting the stadium ready and that's where the big game is going to happen. And I'm like, no, it's just this weird continuation of the germs bit or something. It's like, okay, this is really weird. Let's move past that. Now we do Pump Up the Jams, pump up the jams, pump it up. Can you name who did that song, Tony?
No.
Technotronic. Where have you been all your life?
I still don't. Even you saying that name, I don't even recognize it. What else did they do?
That was their big song. I think Technotronic might be the one where they had the super hot girl in the video, and then they didn't have like a super hot girl in the band, and so then like Madonna had them like come on her tour, and then she was like, "Where's the super hot girl?" And they're like, "Oh yeah, there's no super hot girl."
That was just for the video.
And she was not pleased. I think that was them. It was
I can imagine. That feels very misleading.
I wrote down hot Lola Bunny. I guess Lola Bunny comes out and is super hot again. And they're wearing their Toon Squad shirts.
Yeah. Which, by the way, I had a choice between Toon Squad and the Monstars, and I went Monstars, even though you were quick to point out that I don't even know their names. But they're cool character designs, man.
Are they?
Yes. Oh, they're great.
So the 2 little mice are doing the play-by-play, which I thought was funny. We do the intros, and then we do the Daffy Ducks intro, and everyone's still
That's a good bit.
I wrote laugh. That was a good laugh. That was a very good laugh. He says something like, "What? Nothing for me." Yeah. That was good.
Great stuff. Great job, guys.
So they're playing and they're getting killed. I wrote put in the mouse, and then Lola scores. Then they just keep getting dunked on. Halftime, it's like 58-18 or so.
Yeah, something ridiculous.
So Newman sneaks in there to try and hear what's going on. The boss is talking to the monsters, and then they catch Newman, and then they let him go.
Well, they set him on fire, maybe? Is that kind of what because he comes in all charred and literally smoking. But it's cool. It's cool. He's got to relay some messages to the guys.
Now-
Although, that's how plots work.
Now we have the really problematic problem of the whole movie.
I might agree with you. I don't know. Let's see.
Michael Jordan gets out the secret roid juice, which is not really roid juice.
First of all, Bugs gets it out.
Bugs gets it out.
But Michael is quick to to jump on the bandwagon that, yes, let's convince them they're juicing for the game. Yes, this is a huge, even as a kid, this was a huge problem for me. We are advocating supplements and...
More importantly, there's a line during all this that is, do you want to win or not?
Yeah. You got to win at all costs. And if that means, ruining your body, then that's what it does. All right. It's not cheating per se, unless I guess I don't know if it was cheating at this time.
It's absolutely
It certainly
cheating.
is now.
Yeah.
But I don't know when those rules were implemented. I don't know.
But just the idea of you want to win or not, that's like...
Because if you do, you're not good enough and you need to start taking some steroids, brah, to pump you up.
So now we play Pump Up the Jams. We start catching up the Looney Tunes way. Elmer Fudd does stuff. And it's now it's
stuff.
Now it's a 2-point game. And they're like, something happens and we have to raise the stakes. And so Michael Jordan's like, okay, if we don't win, you also get me. So he has now offered himself. I keep burping.
It's because you digested such a great movie this week.
Now, would Michael Jordan really offer himself up to save the Looney Tunes?
Not even for a second. But I will also say I don't know why this even happens. There doesn't seem to be a reason for it other than just like this is what we should do, I guess.
They want to raise the stakes, so you just sort of arbitrarily say, I will be your Michael Jordan slave. It's a little weird.
But if I had the chance to win a Michael Jordan character for my theme park, I'd be all for it.
Don't say that.
I said it the appropriate way. If I could get him to come work for me and then play basketball all the time, that would be fun. 1-on-1, 2-on-1. It would probably be 5-on-1, really.
Would he be paid, Tony?
He'd be paid so handsomely. He would get all of the royalties of the little MJ figures that we'd sell, maybe some plushies.
So the bad guys are about to crush Lola Bunny, and Bugs saves her, and that's when there's the kiss. And now we see all the Looney Tunes are all beat up. Tweety Bird is in an iron lung. Very weird. Iron lung joke. Kids still love him. So let's see what happens. They put in Stan at center. The ball squirts out. And then there's it's Looney Tune Land. You can do anything. And then Bill Murray shows up. Oh, wait, this is...
Da, 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 da.
And then he's calling the play. And they're all like, we're on defense. And he's like, oh, MJ, take care of that.
It's another great bit. I don't do defense. We're going to have to listen to Michael on this one.
And so
great
then
stuff.
Jordan steals it. Time's running out. And since it's Looney Tunes Land, his arm goes stretch. Boom, dunk, they win.
Yeah. Happy ending. Great stuff.
Bill Murray retires.
Yeah.
Funny joke. The monsters turn on their boss. And then somehow... Because
they're bigger.
Somehow Michael Jordan knows that the ball is the magic, and so they use the magic ball to take the stuff back.
I'm also not... I don't remember... Did the manager guy, did he steal the ball? How did Michael get the ball? I don't remember. I don't know.
Don't care. So then we do another I Believe I Can Fly, because that song is good, so they use it again, because...
I mean, they could have used it 5 times, and I never would have gotten sick of it.
And then the guys are like, we suck, and then Michael Jordan gives them the ball, and then they are fixed. And that's Space Jam.
And then we get another great Bill Murray moment where Michael comes out of retirement and Bill and Larry Bird are at the game and he's like, that could have been me, Larry. Like it's just so good. Just so good.
And that's Space Jam. And so, yeah, I don't think it's not trash. It's not a good movie, but it is a really interesting cultural document that really changed a lot of stuff and really was important for the time. I think looking back now and then making a new one, I have the feeling this new one, who knows,
Yeah, I'm not feeling great about it.
It really depends on how well they leverage the basketball personalities. And that's why when I was watching the trailer for the new one, I was like, is this they steal LeBron's kid, so we actually have stakes now in this new one.
Sure, yes.
And I'm like, are we going to actually leverage the basketball players? Is it just going to be a weird LeBron James movie? And if it's just a weird LeBron James movie, I don't know.
Probably that one.
Yeah.
But I did watch it. I just don't. I should have watched it again last night. But it looks like this one, once you're in Looney Tune land, is all animated. I feel like in the trailer, LeBron might have been animated too. I could be wrong. But if that's the case, that's probably the right move.
I think there is some animated LeBron in.
Because, like, it's sometimes, not often, sometimes it's tough to watch Michael Jordan act against nothing. Because he's not super great to begin with. And so if he has nothing to work off of, sometimes it feels like he's struggling. And a great way around that is just to animate it. And
at times it did feel like you're watching one of his underwear commercials and not really a movie. Just like, okay, I suppose I could buy some underwear now.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah, I would. I mean, you always need it.
Anything else to say about this movie, Tony?
I just want to say that it's sure if you're looking at it like as like a piece of cinema, sure, it's not like a great film. It's not going to win an Oscar, Well, it could for, the great animation. But it's still a great movie, which I feel like is different than film. And it's fun, it's colorful, and you got a bunch of Michael Jordan in it, which is always great. I love me some MJ. Listen, it's great. Have your kids watch it. They're going to love it. I promise you.
Have your kids watch it. They might love it if they care about any of these things. And I think you make a good distinction is there's movies and then there's films. And it's like films is a thing that it's getting harder, even harder to make than movies.
Yes. Yeah. Big time.
Because the Marvel franchise is all based around making films. Some a lot more successful than others, but generally pretty successful. And I think we're kind of getting to this point where, we're ready to have some more films made so that we can just like actually have some mindless enjoyment, which, I started watching Mortal Kombat, and it's a lot more of just a film. It's like, it's not going to be a great movie, but it's like, okay,
that's interesting.
This is entertaining.
That's interesting. Okay. How far did you get in it?
Where am I at? We're just getting we're at the temple, and then the bad guys all just showed up. And I don't know if there's going to be
I haven't watched it yet. Let's just say I hope you're taking notes, Dan.
Oh no, we're going to try and do this one? Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, we have to. I announced it 8 weeks ago on the podcast that when we were doing Video Game Month, I said, when Mortal Kombat comes out, we're doing it. Okay. And I live up to my promises, sir.
I guess that's a little tip of the old hand.
Sorry.
Anything else to say about this movie?
No, it's great. It's great. Have fun. Don't go into it thinking it's going to be something like Dan thought. Just go into it ready to have some fun. You'll have some fun.
I mean, I will not say it was pain. It was not a painful movie, but I expected a very different movie, and it was just like I was kind of like, what is
which
this?
Is understandable.
This is weird.
Yeah,
I found a weird cultural document of the 90s and was spent more time sort of dissecting what it was and why it was the way it was. And the
Sure.
really
Yeah.
interesting thing about this movie is how much they have written on its production. They have tons and tons. Which
Do they really?
Oh yeah, because
Interesting.
It had a really weird path to existence, and I think that is very telling of the movie. Is it had a weird path to existence, and I think it has spawned so many different things that most movies do not get to spawn a lot of cultural. It's like a cultural touchstone, and I think it's really interesting because of that.
For sure. And let's be clear, they have capitalized on that because the merchandising for this movie was just out of this world. Pun intended. It was great, and that's what kind of keeps us, and by us I mean like the people that enjoyed it as a kid and feel nostalgic about it. Like, we keep coming back. I bought this shirt, I don't know, like a year ago. Like, I didn't buy this shirt for this podcast. I have this shirt because a company was like, hey, we are partnering with these people and we get some Space Jam shirts. I was like, fuck yes, I need a Space Jam shirt. So it still lives on today, and good on them. Good on
that is a hard thing to do. So Tony, give us something you've enjoyed. We should give us something you enjoyed this week.
A little weird this week, Dan Goods. I feel like I say that a lot, though, so it's probably not even weird. I'm just doing a Tony thing where it's not.
I'm picking a flavored water.
First of all, no, I will never pick flavored water because I don't like flavored water. Water is perfect the way it is. Don't fuck it up, people. Don't put cucumbers in it, and I don't even like lemon in my water. Just give me some nice cold water. Anyhow, I have fallen back into Rock Band, which hasn't been a thing since I think like 2015. I think was the last time they released Rock Band 4. And I don't know what happened, but we played it for like 5 hours yesterday. Just my wife and I just rocking out in our living room, and I forgot how much fun it is. It's fun, and I know that when I have kids, I'm gonna want them to play it. So I was looking at instruments, and the drums are currently selling for like $600 on eBay because the company that makes the instruments is no longer a company. So this is a plea to everyone out there who watches this podcast. If you got some drums to sell for the Xbox One, you let me know. I will purchase them off you for a reasonable price.
It is interesting what kind of dead tech is going to become incredibly valuable. And when you think about it, it's like we see video game collectors, and we see those prices going up, and we're going to see games selling for $10,000, $100,000 because it's our culture, man. It is the next level of culture is video games. So my pick is a Hulu show called Staged, which is David Tennant and Michael Sheen, and it's a Zoom thing, and they're like rehearsing a play, and it's just really nice. They're both incredible, just talking about the creative process, and Michael Sheen is just fun to watch, and it's so sad that one where he plays the serial killer dad, was so bad. Ooh.
What movie was that?
TV show. Prodigal Son.
TV show. Oh, I never watched it. Yeah, it didn't look great.
Really terrible. I watched an episode and I was like, nope, thank you, nope. But he's incredible because he's so crazy and just says crazy things, and he winds up Tenet, and Tenet winds him up, and super fun.
It's on my watch list. I haven't found the time.
Real easy to watch, really fun to watch. Short episodes.
I'm excited.
6 episode seasons, 2 seasons. I think I'm on the end of this season
BFO.
1. So Tony, tell us about Mortal Kombat.
I blew it early. I'm sorry. Really, I tipped the bit, but I was concerned about how far you were in the movie. Listen. It looks great. I'll tell you that right now. I hope we have a back-to-back perfect film a couple of weeks here with Space Jam and then Mortal Kombat. 2021's Mortal Kombat is the movie for next week, and they released before Friday is when it came out. I know this will be weeks in advance, but before Friday they released the first scene of the movie, which is I believe Sub-Zero and Scorpion, like one of their first encounters, it looks like. And just based off that scene, I am ready for this. It was awesome.
The scene's really good.
So, I mean, I don't know what the movie happens after. I don't know what happens after that, but I'm ready for it.
Yeah, I'm about a third in. I won't say too much, but it's not a terrible film.
Great. I feel like we can find stuff to poke at, though, right? Maybe not?
I don't know, man.
Okay, well, maybe next week's going to be a real short episode.
It'll be like a 15. We'll see.
People would love it if we could get this into a digestible tidbit of 15 minutes.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. But I probably have to go back and rewatch the original. Maybe we'll just sort of talk about Mortal Kombat in general. You know, not in general.
Should we try to watch all three?
I'll probably try to watch at least the first one of the other ones, and just sort of talk about what these movies sort of mean. Because I think, based on what I've seen of this one, it's kind of what you think it's going to be, and so it's not like a lot of like, what is happening? It's like, okay,
sure,
this is interesting.
Well, we could watch Annihilation because that movie will make you feel those things because that movie was dreadful.
I think we should watch Annihilation. I think you are not going to be disappointed with. I think we're both going to just say
with the new one. That's great.
I was almost going to
we'll pivot.
This. Yeah, let's pivot over to Annihilation so we have something that we can make fun of because based on the first third of the movie, I have nothing bad to say about it.
That's the best news that I've ever heard, and I'm very excited. I'm going to watch that then probably tonight.
So let's
we'll call an audible and we'll do Mortal Kombat Annihilation, which came out in what 97? That's a total guess.
And I'm going to definitely watch and let's just talk about
crushed it.
We'll watch Annihilation will be the movie we're doing, but we'll sort of have a lot of other things to say about the other movies too.
You should probably have you seen the original?
The original, of course, I saw it in the movie theater. I loved it.
Okay,
I loved it.
Okay,
loved it.
It's great.
So I'm going to try.
The original's great.
I'm going to try and watch all of them by the time we get.
I'm going to do the same, and I'm very excited. And then
Annihilation will be our movie, but we'll get into.
I'll save that one for Friday, and I'll watch the other two earlier in the week.
Yeah, I think
just to kind of rock out.
I think I'll probably finish the new one today, and then I'll watch the first one, and then I'll go back. Yeah. Must have been an interesting one. Right. So much positivity. We're gonna have to find. I gotta have to find. Oh, I think I have I have a terrible movie. What was it? I don't remember what it was. Yes.
What's going on?
I was just trying to think of what I had an idea for another movie that's actually terrible. Still burping.
Got it. You just think there's too much love going on right now. That's how you feel.
Hate. Some true hate.
This is Love Watching with Dan and Tony. Thanks for coming by.
I feel bad about myself. I feel dirty.
Feel gross. Get it off.
Being nice to things. Yuck. So this has been Hate Watching. If you like what you see, leave a comment or a thumbs up. And, we'll be back next week doing it again.
Whether you do that or not, we'll be back next week. So joke's on you, you idiots.
We'll be back until Dan is dead. Then we'll have the Wake episode. The Wake episode.
I will live stream from the wake, and I'm going to hate watch all the speeches.
That's our point. Whichever one of us goes first, the other one has to go there and live stream their wake. Oh, that would be
done. Done and done.
That's a questionable thing to do.
The future.
So, I'm Dan.
And I'm Tony.
And we'll see you next time.
Bye, everybody.